Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive technological shift that's about to completely rewrite global logistics. I mean, think about it. Almost everything around you right now, your phone, your groceries, the couch you're sitting on, or the Amazon package you've been tracking all day, at some point, it probably hitched a ride on a diesel truck. But the hidden economics of global trade, they're actually shifting right under our feet. We're standing on the verge of a huge transformation in how freight moves around the world. So let's break down exactly how and why this is happening.
But hey, before we jump right in, welcome back. I hope you guys loved our previous explainer, Why Costco Destroys Walmart, the supply chain secrets they won't tell you. If you missed that one, definitely queue it up on the channel page for later. And if you're new here, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. You'll be joining an awesome community of supply chain insiders, and trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got coming up.
Okay, let's dive into this. The absolute biggest mistake people make when talking about electric vehicles and commercial fleets is thinking it's some sort of battle driven by, environmentalists or government mandates or just trying to look good for the public. It's really not. The actual battle, the one happening behind closed doors, comes down to just 3 words: cost per mile. In this business, a fraction of a single cent per mile can literally mean the difference between millions in profit or total loss. Because in logistics, whoever moves freight the cheapest, well, they win, period. This whole revolution, it is purely about CFO math. It's about bottom lines. And by the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly why the world's biggest fleets are betting billions on this shift.
So here's our executive briefing for today. We're going to start with diesel's reign and legacy, uncover the real cost of diesel, and pinpoint exactly where electric trucks win today. Then we'll take a hard look at the infrastructure obstacle, map out how we're approaching the tipping point, and finally wrap up with the future supply chain impact. It's a completely logical, data-driven breakdown of where trucking is headed. Let's get to it.
All right, part 1, diesel's reign and legacy, a century of dominance. Look, to understand where trucking is going, we absolutely have to respect why diesel became the undisputed king of freight in the first place. It basically comes down to 4 massive advantages. First up, range. A long-haul diesel truck can easily go hundreds of miles before even thinking about fueling up. Second, rapid refueling. Pumping diesel takes minutes. Not hours, minutes. Third, universal infrastructure. Diesel stations are literally everywhere you look. And fourth, reliability. Fleet operators know exactly what modern diesel engines cost, how they break, and exactly how to fix them. Logistics companies rely heavily on this predictability because, let's be real, in this business, surprises just burn money. But that predictability brings us to a pretty critical turning point. Because the initial purchase price of a truck, that's just chapter 1 of a very long story. So I want you to ask yourself, what actually happens when we zoom out and compare lifetime operating costs? This completely flips the conversation from the initial sticker shock to the hidden financial realities of actually running a fleet. Which brings us to part 2, the real cost of diesel and the hidden trap of long-term operations. Let's uncover the actual expenses that make diesel kind of a financial liability over time. Say you've got a truck operating for years, running regional freight routes. The truck itself might run you well over $100,000 to buy, but that 6-figure price tag, not even close to your biggest expense. The real pain comes later. Think about this. A commercial truck can easily guzzle over 20,000 gallons of diesel in a single year. That makes fuel your absolute largest operating cost. And as we all know, diesel prices are all over the place. Every geopolitical crisis, oil shock, or refinery hiccup, it eventually hits you right in your transportation costs. And then there's the maintenance. The mechanical differences here are just staggering. I mean, diesel engines are incredible feats of engineering, for sure, but they are insanely complex. We're talking oil systems, cooling systems, complicated emissions equipment, turbochargers, filters, hundreds of moving parts getting pushed to the absolute limit. And guess what? Every single one of those parts is going to wear out eventually. Now, compare that to an electric motor. It's beautifully streamlined. You've got dramatically fewer moving parts, no oil changes to worry about, no messy exhaust treatment systems. It's just inherently simpler. And this brilliantly illustrates a metric that literally keeps fleet managers awake at night: downtime. If a truck isn't moving freight, it's not making you money. Worse, it's actively burning money through lost utilization and sitting in a repair buy. Fleet managers aren't excited about EV simplicity because electric trucks are cool or trendy. They care because minimizing that downtime directly protects their profit margins. It's really that simple. Let's move to part 3, where electric trucks win: precision tools for specific tasks.
So there's this really common misconception floating around that electric trucks are just going to magically replace every single diesel semi on the highway tomorrow. Yeah, no, they aren't. Not even close. Instead, they're being deployed like precision tools. Right now, the EV sweet spot is in urban delivery fleets, port operations, regional distribution centers, and warehouse-to-store routes. Now, why these specific routes? Because these trucks do their job and return to the exact same depot every single night. They don't need to cross the entire country. Companies can just install chargers right at their own facilities, plug the vehicles in overnight when electricity is cheap and abundant, and completely bypass the need for public charging stations.
But, okay, that raises a pretty obvious question for us, right? If electric trucks are such a slam dunk financially for these routes, why hasn't everyone already made the switch? Well, let's pause for a second and look at the very real, objective challenges facing the rest of the industry. This leads right into part 4, the infrastructure obstacle, the grid's heavy-duty challenge. Here's the hard truth. For long-haul routes where a driver is pounding the pavement for hundreds of miles day in and day out, diesel still holds a massive, undeniable advantage. Why? Simply because the fueling network is already there. Building a nationwide heavy-duty charging network is a totally different beast when throwing up a few passenger car chargers at a rest stop. Commercial truck chargers need an enormous amount of power. We're talking major utility upgrades, massive grid expansion, and serious capital investments. And that stuff takes time. You can't exactly plug an 80,000-pound semi into a wall outlet and hope for the best. Because of these huge infrastructure hurdles, the industry is taking a phased approach. Phase 1 is happening right now, urban delivery. Phase 2 steps it up to regional freight. And finally, way down the line, Phase 3 will tackle selected long-haul routes. It's a gradual transformation. Think of it kind of like the shift to shipping containers or warehouse automation. It happens super slowly at first, and then, boom, suddenly it's the new normal.
All right, moving to part 5, approaching the tipping point. Math, not mandates.
Much like smartphones or solar panels back in the day, logistics tech follows a very predictable curve. Costs fall and adoption accelerates. The question really isn't if EVs get better, it's when they become cheaper to run. And here is exactly how that plays out. Step 1, battery tech improves. Step 2, infrastructure expands. Step 3, fleets start gathering hard, real-world data on their routes. Step 4, and this is the big one, the CFOs sit down, crunch those numbers, and realize that keeping their diesel fleet is actually bleeding them dry, which triggers Step 5, rapid adoption on those specific profitable routes. So the crucial point is that once the operational math proves diesel is the pricier option, this transition is going to speed up faster than anyone expects. But what does all of this actually mean for the folks on the ground? You know, the truck drivers, the mechanics, the people holding the global supply chain together. Let's take a look at the real-world impact this is going to have on jobs and the broader economy. Section 6. Future supply chain impact. Winners, losers, and efficiency. I know one of the biggest fears out there is job loss, but honestly, trucking's biggest headache right now isn't a surplus of drivers. It's actually a massive shortage. In this new logistics reality, freight demand isn't going anywhere. We still need our stuff, right? What changes is the skills required. Technicians are going to have to level up their electrical and software game, moving past just traditional mechanical know-how. Energy planning is going to fuse directly with logistics planning. And for companies, finding even a tiny efficiency gain, like say a 1% savings in transportation costs, that multiplies across millions of deliveries to create an absolutely massive competitive advantage. I want to leave you guys with this thought, because I think it perfectly sums everything up. The future isn't diesel versus electric. The future is using the right technology for the right route. It is a purely pragmatic, economic reality. The companies that figure this out early and match the right tech to the right route, those are the ones who are going to completely dominate global trade in the coming decades. Well, that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this logistics revolution. Next time, we're tackling nearshoring, why manufacturing is moving back home. We'll dive into why major brands are suddenly pulling their factories closer to consumers and basically reversing decades of globalization. It's going to be a good one. But until then, the next time you're on the highway and a massive semi blows past you, I want you to ask yourself, in 5 years, will that thing be running on oil or algorithms? If you enjoyed this explainer, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss out on more supply chain secrets. Catch you in the next one.